Hello, everyone. Okay, yes, we are live. Okay. Yeah, so hello, everyone. It's Dr. Manjiri Nadkarni, Ayurvedic MD, registered holistic nutritionist, back today for our Saturday expert series. It's been quite fun today doing everything back to back. So today we're going to talk about building a healthy immunity or building a healthy immune system with Ayurveda. Today we have Vaidya Swati Mhaske from Ayurveda with us, and this is really fantastic because immunity um, is extremely important throughout what we are dealing with the pandemic. But as soon as we enter this spring season, that's when a lot of allergies start popping up. Any seasonal change is going to impact your immunity as well. So that's what we are going to discuss more about it. Also, this is a little taster of the immunity with Ayurveda that we are sharing with you. Dr. Swati has a full 2 hour masterclass where she's going to talk about building healthy immunity with Ayurveda. You also get a cookbook with some immune building recipes, and it's a 2 hour class that you can sign up for. Again, the link is right in the video description itself. So, welcome, Swati. How are you today?
Good, good. I'm really good, and happy Holi to all my friends and colleagues, and happy Holi to you as well, Manjari.
Happy Holi, happy Holi. I'm making some Puran Polis today,
Oh, yay! Good, good. All right.
which
Okay,
might not really help immunity, but let's talk
I
about.
know.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
let's talk about, when we talk about immunity, right? What exactly does it mean from an Ayurvedic perspective?
Okay. So when we start about immune health or immunity is a concept of Vyadi Kshamatva in Ayurveda. So when we say Vyadi means disease, and Kshamatva means the tolerance. How we can tolerate a disease, how we can fight a disease. So when we talk about this Vyadi Kshamatva, this is all about our basis of our immunity, like how we are health wise. Are we good in good immunity, or do we have a satisfactory immunity, or do we really have a bad immunity? And this depends on person to person, constitution to constitution. So you, the person who can fight a disease well, other person cannot do that, or something like that. We have always observed it in a certain way, in that manner. So Vedic shamatva or immunity, that concept depends on is three important topics of our body. One is our bala, that is our strength. Second is our ojas, that is the essence or the nutrients that are being gathered by our body, stored in our body, and so that we can use them at a particular time when the body is in a real chaos. So that is very important. And the third one is real immune system,
Mhm.
right? The immune modulatory response that body throws when we are exposed to any kind of pathogen. So those are the three things. When we talk about the bala is strength. Strength
Mhm.
means whatever is the natural strength we have in ourselves, or what we gain as we grow up, right? So right from the start, from the birth, we have our strength, what is being inherited in our genetic disposition, whatever it is, like what our mother ate, what was the environment we were born in, all these things. So it also depends on the quality of sperm and ovum. So there
Mhm.
is that bala, one factor. The other factor that bala also consists is how is our lifestyle, right?
Mhm.
How is our bala, or how is our strength? Where do we live? Do we live in a climate or a temperature where it is sucking out the energy constantly, or climate which really bounds us with the energy levels? All these things matter in
Mhm.
the term called as bala. Then the second thing is immunity. So when we talk about immunity or the real immune response that body throws, it also differs from person to person. So
Mhm.
all this Vedic Shamatva, when we talk about, or the immune response to a pathogen or a virus or whatever you call it, as a foreign body that enters our system and tries to disrupt our body's mechanism, our immune response or our immunity is waiting for to fight that
Mhm.
particular pathogen. And that is what is important in understanding this concept of immunity. That is the second one. And the third one is ojas.
Mhm.
That means the essence of tissues. So when we are developing, our body is, we are born with these seven tissues, right, in our body. So when we talk about these seven tissues and development of these seven tissues in a certain way, we have to first, the first tissue that is built in our body is rasa dhatu. So
Mhm.
rasa means annaras, that means whatever is present in our food, whatever we are consuming. Now there are two parts of consumption when we talk about, is the real food that we actually eat, and other is the psychological emotional well-being that we go through. So that means there are two factors, the factors that we consume through diet, the physical consumption, and psychological consumption. So ojas depends on this. The first tissue, if it is not formed properly, if it is not metabolized in our body properly, other tissues, the other six tissues are going to get depleted.
Mhm.
And when these depletion is happening, the seventh tissue, which is our reproductive health or our reproductive tissues, what we call it as, it is going to be more depleted in one manner. So now there is a connection, there is a very subtle connection that goes between these tissues, which I'll be discussing in details in my master class. But when we talk about the first formation of tissues, it is very important that our ojas should be strong enough, our essence of tissues should be strong enough to fight a disease. And
Mhm.
most of the times, many times that we went that we go through an infection, and we say, oh, you know what, after that infection it really took my body down. For a year I was really in a state of unhealthy way of living. Like I was not feeling well, no matter what I'm eating, what I'm consuming, it is just not sticking to me. It is just like I'm shedding and shedding my energy constantly. So this is like an attack on the immune system. So
Mhm.
body recovers on itself. When we go through a process of recovery, that means the immune system is again building up its soldiers. Again,
Mhm.
it is working thoroughly to make your body stronger and healthier, right?
Mhm.
But when the body, the Vedic Shamatva or the immunity is being attacked, we should understand that really what happened. Like, why did we get this sick? Or now that the COVID crisis is going on, I'm like, we are not going to eradicate COVID just like that. It's not a physical form of virus. It's present here and we can just throw it out from our environment. We cannot do that. The virus will be there, and in at one point of time we will be exposed to it,
Mhm.
because all the world, the way it has spread to all the world so easily and in a fast pace, we know that it is going to affect us some point or the other. You are not just going to protect yourself or live in an environment which is completely clean, completely virus free or pathogen free. Then how are we going to develop the immunity for this, right?
Mhm.
So many people, like when they were fighting this COVID virus, many people, they got exposed to the COVID virus, they fought the infection no matter the virus was brand new to the system. The virus cannot, I wouldn't say it is brand new. COVID virus is not brand new or something, but the strain is very very new to the system. But still, many people, I would say 75% of people fought the virus, right? And other remaining portion of population really went through a very hard attack from the virus, right? So there is a difference in immunity, age factors, sex is there. All these factors, they contribute to a healthier immunity, and
Yeah.
that is what the concept of immunity in Ayurveda is.
Mhm. No, and that's really, because a lot of the times I see people, oh, I should drink this tea and this is like an immune builder for me. And
Yeah.
holy basil, for example, everybody focuses on that. But one important thing you said was that the anna rasa, the food that you eat,
Yep.
is the very essence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing that's feeding all your tissues, right?
Yep.
Including your reproductive tissues. Now, when we look at the seven layers of tissues, when we talk about this shukra dhatu as well, just a point I want to make is these are also cells which are regenerative cells, not just reproductive cells. So you want your body to spring back.
Yep.
And this is extremely important to pay attention to. You can't just take something, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and think that you're going to have the strongest
No.
immune system in the next day, right? It takes
No.
time to build. Hello, Chanchalji, nice to see you. So I have another question because we're talking about food. What are the three foods, in your opinion, to absolutely avoid at all costs?
Mm-hmm.
And what are the three superfoods to include in your diet for an immune system?
All right. Okay. Wonderful question. So, what I would say, Ayurveda wise, that there are many herbs, there are many regenerative therapies that we can do to really accelerate our immune response to a particular virus or a particular pathogen. But when we talk about like these three superfoods or something that is really good for our body, I would say that it all depends on the constitution of the person, that what is he or she is able to digest properly. Like many in many like you would say, or you would read some blogs, or you will search online, you will say, you will find amla, you will find pipali, you will find ashwagandha, you will find shatavari, all these rasayana dravyas, rejuvenating herbs, which are really good to consume. But
Mhm.
it all depends from a person to person. If you are taking these rasayanas on a regular basis, I would like to people to think about it, whether this is going to work for us health or not, our constitution or not. So most of the time what I would say is that go through a proper consultation, go through a good analysis, and then choose some rasayana herbs or regenerating herbs that will really work for you.
Mhm.
And when we talk about three superfoods and whatever we consume, I would say not only foods, but your lifestyle, your thought process, your stress levels, all these things matter as the form of consumption. How what we are consuming on a regular basis,
Yeah.
right? Are we consuming stress? Are we consuming junk food, processed food? Are we consuming a really good food? That is going to affect our body
Yeah.
somewhat or the other. Like, for example, COVID crisis. Everywhere there was, like in the start of when COVID was very new, I could feel the pressure, I could feel the anxiety that is developing in the society. There were
Mhm.
not enough people. Everybody was scared. We were even scared to bring groceries at home. So only one person would go outside, then take a bath, and then come outside, inside the house. All these things was creating a chaos inside our bodies, our minds, everywhere. That increased the stress levels in the human nature. And when the stress levels in our body are increased, our immunity depletes. And
Mhm.
that was also a common factor for many people, that they got attacked by the virus. Many people just had the, I would say, the pseudo virus effect on them. Like, oh my God, anxiety is developing. Oh, do I have the virus? I have a fever. Does my temperature look more? Do I have sore throat? What is happening to me? All these kind of emotions that we need to digest, all these kind of stress levels that we need to digest, those matter. So those are the something that I would call as the super you would say things to avoid, which is stress, which is not healthy lifestyle, alcohol, which depletes ojas directly, and that caffeine also has an impact on ojas also if it is taken in excess amount, and also irregular routines, less like the sleeping patterns are really out of sync. All these things, they will affect your immunity, not now but somewhere in the future for sure.
And this is amazing. I just had a talk about Vata Prakriti and the signs of Vata Prakriti, and everything I talked about balancing Vata is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it makes sense that, when there is so much fear and anxiety, and, the Vata in your body gets completely out of balance, there is Vata Prakop, without even the Sanchai, there is
Yes,
like Prakop.
direct protocol. Yep.
Right. And that's when you're like shaking, and then you're buying toilet paper, which is the biggest thing you can see in the
I
shop.
know. Yes, yes.
Right. So that's kind of, 100% makes sense. And really, it's about building like a steady lifestyle. What about food?
Mhm.
Like you mentioned that, okay, stress wise, these are the three things to absolutely avoid, like stress or, junk food,
Alcohol.
caffeine,
Yeah.
alcohol. What
Mhm.
about like in terms of food? Like I know
Mhm.
caffeine, alcohol would come into food, but what is your take on foods that people are eating on like a regular basis?
Okay, so when we talk about the foods, there are certain foods that are really good and nourishing to our body. Like you would say, pumpkin is good, or any kind of ground vegetables. They provide a lot of nutrients to the body. The thing of understanding the basic superfoods for our body, I would categorize amla, Like
Mhm.
Indian gooseberry, it has tremendous amount of good effects on the body. And mostly amla is good for every prakruti, like vata pitta kapha, they all can have amla. So amla tea, or I would be including this in my master class as well, how to make amla tea and pippali tea and all these things, and how to incorporate it season wise. Like,
Mhm.
how are you going to really respect the season outside and then take any kind of regenerating herbs? So like any foods that are nourishing, that are organic, that are fresh from the market, or being grown into your in your back garden, that is the best choice that you can make. Whatever is freshly cooked in your kitchen in front of you with your influence on the food, it is also very important. So you can make a normal khichdi, like rice and lentil combination, into a superfood as well. When
Mhm.
you incorporate all these things, and when you start thinking about the ideas, like many of my clients, they are going through panchakarma right now, and
Mhm.
when they are doing panchakarma, they are figuring things out on their own most of the time, right?
Mhm.
If I tell them that, okay, we have to make this kind of khichdi which has a lot of amount of water in it, then they will come with the idea, oh, Dr. Swati, should we add a little bit of shunti in there, a little ginger powder in, do I add asafoetida or hing into that? So their ideas, their emotions, their thinking, what they are putting in the food makes the food superfood.
Yeah.
So that is very important to figure out, that once we understand the concept of, okay, I'm taking amla, how do I take it? Or should I take it? Is it more astringent to me? Is it
Yeah.
affecting in me in a certain way? It doesn't make you make it a superfood anymore then.
Yeah. And
So
yeah, sorry.
yeah,
No, really interesting, that even seasonal regimens and seasonal building of immunity, And one thing, today is Holi. So traditionally in Maharashtra, we make Puran Polis,
yes.
right? So
Hmm.
it's also the onset of spring, like when we are going, in after the Uttarayan starts, and that's when,
Yes.
the kapha starts liquefying. And if you look at like the chana dal, which is really like drying the
Yeah.
kapha, and then the gur
Yes.
or jaggery is what's
Warm.
warm and
Yes.
liquefies everything, right?
Hmm.
So amazing, like this is kind of the science of Ayurveda, and Dr. Swati is going to talk to you about the recipes you can create on your own. Maybe not as
Hmm.
complex as Puran Poli, but
Yes. Yes. Even I'm not good at that.
yeah, but really good foods that you can include on a daily basis,
Hmm.
something that you can make on your kitchen, some spices, how to incorporate spices the best possible ways, because I've also seen people adding too many spices, really
Hmm.
heat up the oil, and then you're burning the spice, and then it
I know.
loses all the
Yep.
potency, right?
Yep.
So these are the ways. And what about practices when it comes to any practice? What
Hmm.
are some of the crucial practices to rebalance the immune system?
Right. Very important question. So I would start with an example. I recently, one person came to me with lupus. Okay. So
Mhm.
this is a autoimmune disorder. Autoimmune, in a very short manner, what we call it as, is our immune system is attacking our own system. Okay,
Mhm.
so our health is being attacked by our own immune system, and our body's inflammation rate increases rapidly, very very drastically. And what happens is, when this immune response is being kicked in a negative way, what happens is your body goes into a very different kind of turmoil. And when we talk about this, inflammation increases in our body. This person, when she came to me with lupus on her face, and her joints were swollen, and all of factors were inclined towards RA and all these things, I asked her what was she doing, and she said, oh, I'm a healthy eater, I'm good. And the factor that affected most in her life was work related stress. A
Mhm.
lot of stress for many years started building up in her body. And what
Mhm.
she thought was, okay, I'm eating organic, I'm eating this, I'm taking this, but there was no factor of doing regular exercises or regular pranayamas or meditations or mindfulness. Very important. Many people find it silly to practice this, or to reverse a disease we have to practice all these things. But it is very important to make these lifestyle changes according to your constitution, How much are you exercising? How much efforts are you putting in trying to go into a meditative pose? How much efforts are you trying to eat mindfully or choose something, pick something mindfully? So that is very important for a person to understand stress free life, right? You'll
Yeah.
find thousands and thousands of blogs outside how to live a stress free life. So it all depends on individual. What you cannot just leave your job and sit at home to leave the stress. The
Yeah.
stress will be doubled up because now you have financial responsibilities.
Yeah.
So how can we figure out, how can we incorporate these things? Just starting with 10 minutes of breathing every hour is important. What are you going, you are just breathing. You can take, like, even if you are in a meeting or something, and if other person is talking or his turn is for talking, you can take like 5 breaths and just calm down your system.
Mhm.
It has proven a benefit on your health in such a way that it calms down your stress response immediately. The anxiety that is developing, the nervousness that is developing, the stress that is causing you to make bad decisions in your life, that is going to build forever. It is not going to get shed. And the most important thing is, to live that stress from the body, it's not easy.
Mhm.
You can reset your diet. You can do some panchakarmas, you can shed some toxins, and you can regulate your diet. It is a good easy process. But shedding stress from your body, it is not an easy process. It
Mhm.
makes permanent damages to the system, especially to the immune system. When it's
Mhm.
connected to inflammation and immune response, it is directly connected to each other. So when you say that, oh, I have stress, but it is going to be there, everybody has stress.
Yeah.
But always remember, when you wake up in the morning, do you wake up with an anxiety? Do you wake up with a closeness of the chest and you feel that somebody is suffocating you? So if you do that, that is an alarm signal that your body is giving you. Do
Mhm.
not pursue that alarm signal. Stop where you are and take a reverse break. And that is what Ayurveda is about. Ayurveda is not about future treatments. It is about going in the back, going reverse, and finding the root cause and erupting it. And that is
Very well
where we are,
said.
right? So that is what, when we go to an allopathic doctor or modern medicine doctor, they will go symptomatic. They will say, you have inflammation, I will give you anti-inflammatory drugs. That is how it is. We will calm down that inflammation. You will feel better for a few days. But what about going reverse and stop doing the things that were causing the inflammation, right?
Mhm.
You need to stop, you need to take a break, because your alarm system, inflammation in our body is actually good. Because inflammation is like an ambulance, that tells you, the siren that goes off in our body and tells you to stop where you are right now. So if you feel you have stuck joints in the morning, if you feel there is a lot of warmth in your joints or little swelling in your joint, the classic symptoms of inflammation, you need to stop and take a reverse break, figure things out, what you are really doing. Because in the future, it is going to turn down your immunity drastically. It will
Mhm.
take your immune system down. For every little change in the nature or anything you are exposed to, you will fall sick,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really, well said. And see, it's Ayurveda is all about finding the root cause. That's what Sandy is saying, always smarter to get back to peel the layers. And see, the root cause might be in the emotions, as you're saying, or it
Yeah.
could be in the physical body, it could be in the
Mhm.
diet, it could be something, but you have to find that root cause.
Yeah.
And even with immune system, your immune system is like your gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Yep.
it's going to make sure that only good things are allowed. That's how it's keeping in check all the bacteria, viruses,
Mm-hmm.
from the body. But if your gatekeeper gets messed up, then everybody gets an entry,
Yes, for sure, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so really, really important. Yeah. So anything else you would like to tell us, Dr. Swati?
So what I would like to establish, like, you all to establish a relationship with yourself. That is very important. Immune system. We are born with an immune system. Nobody on this planet is born without an immune system. We have immune system which can fight for us, which can create soldiers in our body and fight the infection. On top of that, it can remember that particular virus in your system again, so that if the virus again attacks this body, it has a very good response to that particular pathogen. Now, when in the olden days and in today's era, what has happened is that we are really living in a clean environment, as we can say, right? So if we compare US and India, India is still a little developing country. US is a developed country. So here the cleanliness, or the roads, or you would say slum areas or unhygienic places are very less compared to India. But what happens is this builds a lot of immunity, a herd immunity, what we call it as, because the population is more, people are living very close to each other, and they are not they are exposed to many pathogens while they are growing up automatically. And what happens is that India's recovery rate for COVID is way more bigger than other countries, and everybody is surprised with that, because the diet, the environmental changes, the respect, like Holi. We celebrate Holi with jaggery and this chana dal, the chickpeas, what we call it as. So when we make this, or we make these changes, or go on fastings on certain days, all these indirectly is helping our immune system build. All
Yeah.
these seasonal changes, all these festivals that make us make certain things which are really good, like sesame seeds and jaggery is made on
Correct.
Sankranti,
Yeah.
which is one of the first festival that we have in the midwinter time, right?
Yeah.
So sesame seeds is very warm, good source of calcium, and it's very good for our body, for our blood vessels to produce good amount of blood supply, like
Yeah.
circulation is good. So all these things, when they are in synchronization, you see, you develop your immunity even when you are living under the poverty line. A
Yeah.
person who is walking, wandering around the streets and selling 10 rupees or something, that person, compared with a millionaire person living in a wholly sanitized house and very clean house, the immunity of that person will be more compared to this person who is living in an ultra sanitized
And
environment.
eating organic foods. Like,
And
see,
organic foods. Yeah.
it's not wrong to eat organic foods, but what we're trying to say here is, that in India, I think Ayurveda is rooted in the culture, whether people
Yes.
like to believe it or not,
Yeah.
right? The fact
Mm-hmm.
is that the festivals have a meaning to them. I was
Mm-hmm.
reading an article by Dr. Bhaswati today where she
Yeah.
talked about, hibiscus and other even bhasmas used for the holy
Mm.
colors, right?
Yep.
And honestly, I didn't know about the bhasmas
Yep.
being used for holy colors. So
Yes. Yes.
at the time where you are having this kapha imbalance, a lot of herbs are kind of, you're splashing things on one another or using all the colors, and that
Yeah.
helps with
Mm-hmm.
immune building as well. That
Yep.
helps with balancing this excess kapha as well. And
Yep.
spring is the time when all the allergies start. This is the
Yeah.
time your immunity is going through a toss because
Mm-hmm.
of the transition,
Mm-hmm.
in winter or in Canada, uh,
Yes.
in North America, in the US as well, wherever you have this cold weather, from 1 degree we suddenly go to 20, then we come
Yes.
back to like zero
Mm-hmm.
in a matter of
Yes.
days, right? So the
Uh-huh.
transition is not easy on your body as well.
Yep.
So that is why, and these seasonal transitions, extreme changes in weather are also going to lower your immune system,
Yes.
right?
Yes. It
So
is.
this is the time where you have to take care the transition of the seasons,
Mm-hmm.
call it like Yamadanshra, right? uh,
Yep. Yep.
15 days of the seasonal changes is where you
Yes.
have to make sure, you're following a really
Mm-hmm.
good regimen to make sure
Mm-hmm.
you're building your immunity. I'm
Yep.
going to take a quick comments. If you have any questions, please post it in the comment section. So Dr. Rajan says that in my opinion, to build immunity of the mind
Mm-hmm.
and body constitution of individuals, yeah, 100%, it is
Yes.
extremely important to
Mm-hmm.
build the mental resilience as well.
Yes. Very
Just,
important.
and I think that's what you pointed out when you said that, everybody was going through like more of the psychological symptoms or that
Mm-hmm.
stress, when
Mm-hmm.
COVID first hit,
Yes.
and the mind wasn't strong enough to tolerate, and then you start
Yes.
seeing the symptoms whether you actually have the virus or not.
Yep. Yep. And many people went through that. That
Yeah.
if your mind is trying to incline towards that, you will get that.
Yeah.
So always incline your mind to positivity, to less stress, and always look at the future, that I am this body mind connection, and I need to focus on that more throughout the day. If you are not focused enough throughout the day on this constitution, and you are continuously attracting garbage in your system, it's not going to help. And when I say garbage, it is not only what we put through our mouth, but what we look or hear through our senses,
Yeah.
right? So all these things, they are very important. What you are doing on a daily basis for yourself, at least one self care activity, one self care. Not, the body is not asking you to do tons of leave everything and sit for a panchakarma or something like that. Body will never say that. It is always very resilient for you. It is always standing tall for you. When you are sick, it is there. When you are really upright and very healthy, it is there with you. So one change at a time, maybe incorporating nasya, or maybe incorporating oil pulling, maybe incorporating some kind of fasting, or anything that is good for your body, at least 5 times a week. One single procedure in Ayurveda, if we calculate, it takes not more than 10 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Putting 2 drops of nasal oil into your in as a form of nasya, it's so important. So that is why this is important to understand, that immunity comes from within. Immunity is a connection between your psychological mind and your physiological body. If they are working properly together, your immune health will be the strongest. And even
Yeah.
if you get attacked with a pathogen, your body will be strong enough to fight that pathogen. So you need to work on that every day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And then Dr. Rajan has another comment: mind of the mother, grandmother
Yes.
should be put in preparing the
So
food
true.
100%. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
And
Yep.
personally, like, I love cooking, and that's one way I can, like, I express, my love for my friends and all. Like, I'll feed
Yes.
them.
Mm-hmm. That's so nice.
Panchalji says every hour. I think it was in respect to breathing. You mentioned that taking a break for breathing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think the comment was in respect to, breathing.
Yes. So every hour you can take is a 5 minute break. You can put your palm onto your stomach, and see how the abdomen is popping up and
Yeah.
down, and how you are breathing. Now there are very many forms of yogic breathing, which we starts with abdomen, which starts with the chest, and when it starts with all three together. So
Mhm.
that is also yogi breathing, but every time when you are in an office environment, you cannot pursue that. But what you can do is just at least keep your palm onto your abdomen and take some few deep breaths, which is
Mhm.
very important. Where you will find, you do this practice, I have my clients which can prove it to you, that this practice has helped them cope up with the stress a lot.
Yeah.
It's not the stress is gone, but they felt that their heartbeat is not racing anymore. They
Mhm.
are not gasping for breath all of a sudden. They are
Mhm.
just calming down. They are more vigilant about how they are breathing, whether the breathing is stuck somewhere, whether they are feeling that I have really emotionally locked my system somehow, or got into a cocoon, what I say. Not, it's not happening anymore. It's more like, okay, I can solve this. A time
Mhm.
will come, I'll sit down with it, I'll resolve the issue. If I want to have a prompt response, my body is able to give a prompt response as well. But that mind body connection is very important. The flow of prana is very important. Prana is directly associated, for me, I think prana is associated, the circulation of prana is associated with good bala, good
Yeah.
strength of our body. If the prana is not circulating enough, that means in a physical way, that if you are not breathing enough in a conscious manner, if you are constantly hurrying or are in unsynchronous breathing, that means the prana is affected for sure. When the prana is affected, for sure, your bala, your strength is going to go down for sure. Not today when you are really happy healthy in your young phase, but when you are approaching towards menopause, when life gets take a very different turn, in especially in women, like when menopausal, they will really feel the spin happening. So that time your body will start to complain. That time it becomes very hard to work on these things. So if you are incorporating Ayurveda, yoga, mindfulness, it right now, in whatever age you are, start it today.
Mhm.
It's very important.
Yeah, and it's all simple, you don't, as you're saying, you don't need to change everything about it, but one thing your body deserves that, your mind deserves that, you deserve that, right? One change.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so I know you are a busy woman, and so
Oh
before
boy.
you go, I want to speak to you. Can you share with us about your upcoming workshop? I know I talked a little bit about it in the
Yes.
introduction of this video, but if
Mhm.
you can share with our viewers, what are you going to be teaching and how
Mhm.
can they sign up?
Sure. So you can go on my page, or Manjiri has shared the link to sign up for the event or the master class. And in those 2 hours, I will be going through the foundation of our human nature. So it's your physical body and your psychological being, everything, how they are connected to each other. How are we supposed to work with dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the 4 pillars, and then connecting these to the elements, and then taking from these elements to our body, the doshas. Okay, so it is very important how we build these tissues, how the 7 tissues are being built, how are we going to work on all these things together. And once we do that together, that is the foundation of building your immunity. Not just drinking teas, not just boiling this and doing this and all these things. You have to look at the role, because many people say, I eat healthy, I exercise healthy, but still I always fall sick, or I am the one who is always falling sick. And there is one person who is a happy to go, a lucky person, and his immunity is way more better than a person who is very conscious. And why is that happening? What is the difference? Understanding the basic concept of immunity is very important, and that is what I thought when I'm putting these all these 70 slides that you will be going through. So all these things will be going step by step, and I'll be answering all your personalized questions if you have at the end of the event. So if you want to join, please join, and I would be really happy to have you all.
Yeah, so I have shared for everyone watching, and I'm gonna say a quick hi to Mohan. So if you are, seeing the comment section, you can also see the link is right in the comment section. It's both on
Yes.
Facebook as well as it's on the YouTube channel. So you can just click on the link and sign up for it, and it's fantastic, because this is the time to take care of your immunity. Actually, it's every day is a time to take care of your
Yeah,
immunity.
so true.
This is the time to educate yourself, if you don't know much
Yes.
about immunity, or if you're falling a trap to all those trends where this day you're supposed to drink this and tomorrow it's something completely
Yeah.
different that you're having,
Mhm.
in the
Yes,
name of
and this,
immunity.
yeah, and this event will be live recorded. So if you
Yeah.
cannot attend the event, one person is he cannot be there. So he's going to take the recording, and then can ask me questions after that.
Yeah,
So you can do that as well. You will get the recording. If you're not, you can just register on the way, and you can watch the recording later as well.
and you're also giving some recipes. That's
Yes,
exciting.
I'm going to give a free ebook. It's a very small, short ebook, but it will be kind of a point, to the point information in there, and I'll be covering most of it. And if you need more recipes or more help with that, I'll be happy to do so as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. No, this was wonderful, So everyone just take care of your immunity. This is the time, and happy Holi, everyone. Here we are not going to play with colors much or
Yes. Yes, I know.
water. So
Yes.
yeah, but
Yep.
yeah, everybody have a fantastic day. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
happy
you for having
weekend.
me.
And, oh,
All
you're
right.
most welcome. Thank you always for showing up.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for always being here. Like it's amazing what we can learn from you. So I'm always it's always my pleasure. So thank you so
Oh,
much.
and the pleasure is mine as well.
Thanks. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.